Anything you want to say to the audience before we end the show? Because I mean, it's been so much. You have so much.
I know. I talk a lot. Sorry.
No, it's so much for you to offer and to tell the world.
My motto is faith over fear.
Okay.
So if there's something that you're scared to do, just continue to have faith. And honestly, when you go into the unknown, I 9 times out of 10, it's going to be greater than you could ever imagine.
Yes.
On the other side, and live life with no regrets. There's so many young people that are living life, fearful or, regretting things when they get older, but you literally only have this one life.
That's
and think about, your legacy and what you want to leave behind. And if you can just live life to the fullest, for me, that's my legacy, to say, she lived life to the fullest.
To the Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, normally people say, oh, Calgon, take me away, or I really wish that one day I could just travel the world and see everything that the world has to offer. But at the end of the day, when it comes to working our 9-to-5 jobs type of thing, or traveling the world, that only happens on stuff like Forrest Gump, where they just drop everything and run around the country. But guess what? On today's show, I have a guest that literally left her 9-to-5 corporate job in the early age of 27, if I'm not mistaken, and actually decided that enough is enough. I'm traveling the world. And literally, as an African-American woman, did it all on her own. Today, welcome Jakiya Brown.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
I brought you these as well.
Thank you so much. And
it matches your dress, exactly.
And you didn't know what I was going to wear.
No.
That's so crazy. I always wear black.
Just had a feeling.
Always, for the most part. But look at this. Whoa.
Beautiful.
Thank you
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here back home in North Carolina, Charlotte, my hometown.
Well, let me say this right quick.
Good.
Cassandra's trying to grab these on the side, like without being in the camera. Can you come over for a second?
Hi,
Cassandra's
everyone.
my operations manager.
She's the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so you're here and you're visiting in Charlotte, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Your mom is Miss Deanna Brown.
Yes.
So just so everyone knows, Miss Deanna Brown attends the Rock Worship Center where Pastor Frank Jacobs, my husband, is the pastor. So I get the honor and privilege of having her lovely daughter, Miss Jakiya Brown, here with me today.
Yes.
And first of all, I'm so excited. I'm excited. So I wanted this to just be a conversation where we talk and people in the community get an opportunity to learn more about you. I know I'm intrigued.
Thank you.
Personally intrigued.
And thank you for following me
and
supporting my journey. I appreciate that.
Well, your journey is one that is vast, as I guess the biggest word I could think to say. Mm-hmm. It's massive. And at an early age, you literally just decided that you were going to leave corporate and go to travel the world.
Yeah.
Tell us how that started for you.
Yes. So I, grew up in Charlotte, born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is the city that raised me. I went to school at University of North Carolina at Greensboro, and studied marketing. And, I kind of took that path of go to college, get the 4-year degree, and then get an internship and get a job, which I totally recommend going to college. And that for me was just what I thought the path was. Mm-hmm. And then I scored at the time what my dream job was, and I worked at L'Oreal on 5th Avenue in New York. Like,
And look at you.
Didn't think it can get any better than that. And it was amazing. It's taught me a lot that I know now, business, marketing, networking. It was a super fast-paced environment. But I just, my dream changed. I wasn't feeling the 9 to 5, well, it was really like 9 to 9, and I wasn't really feeling fulfilled. I was feeling like I didn't have control over my trajectory of life. I wasn't seeing anyone in the C-suite, CEOs, or anything that looked like me. I was like, it seems far-fetched to kind of move up the ladder in corporate America at that time. I was 21, 22, something like that.
Okay.
And you know that, and then I really thought about it. That's not my dream to be the CEO of this company. So yeah, I quit. Basically, in 2016.
It was just that simple. I mean, you could just say,
it sounds like retrospectively, it sounds simple,
right.
But of course, I saved, I planned. So I planned for about a year. Everyone asked me, how long did you plan? How much did you save? All of these things. So I planned for about a year, and I saved for about enough to live for 6 months.
Well, you know what? See, that's a very important point for my audience to hear. Not everyone just jumps off and starts a goal or a dream and living the life of your dream when they're in corporate America. Some people, like Jakaya, and she highly recommends, I'm sure, if you're in corporate America, to consider putting some aside so that when you do leave your job, you can officially have something to live off of. And you did that for a 6-month period.
I did that for a year, actually. So I doubled my investment. Just a few tips. Doubled my investment in my 401k so that, because at the time when you're in corporate, most companies match your 401k.
Yes.
So I started upping my investment in my 401k so that when I'm out of corporate, I have that cushy, retirement fund still there, and you can roll it over and all of those things. I took advantage of just like health insurance things, like appointments that I needed to do, kind of caught up on all the things, made sure my wisdom teeth were out, all those things, because I knew I wasn't going to have health insurance to start. So I just used it to my advantage.
Good.
But one of the most important tips was I knew I was quitting for about 8 months, but I still showed up. That was hard, but I did my job.
You were quitting.
They did not know.
So you still showed up on time. You still did
maybe not on time.
Well, maybe not on time, but you showed up for work and you did your job and you accomplished the tasks that were given to you, right?
Absolutely.
As an employee. Okay, that's
absolutely. And it was funny because when I got my mid-year review, I got all excellence and outstanding review, and in my mind, I was kind of checked out. But the point is don't burn any bridges, and those connections that I had there serve me now.
Excellent.
Everything leads to another. It's not like you quit one life and start another one. It's a trail. So that would be my tips for anyone in that position right now of feeling tired and run down.
And feeling burned out, but knowing that you're not living the life of your dreams, that you know that you have something that you can foresee yourself doing, but you don't feel comfortable until you know that you have enough stashed away to do that. So that's a very important tip, and I hope you guys apply that. Make sure you hear what Jakaya said.
Thank you.
Did you know already that you were going to be going to South Africa, to Senegal?
No. So I left in 2016 in November, and I actually took my first solo trip. I had already been traveling, but I took my first solo trip to Haiti. Okay. And I went for a month, and I helped teach English in Port-au-Prince. And then that kind of got me hooked on, I really wanted to explore more of Black countries. But I knew that if I went to Africa right away, I probably would just stay on the continent. So I actually traveled for almost a year, and I did Europe, Middle East, North Africa, Asia, basically everywhere.
Okay.
Where else did I go? Caribbean, South America. I did all of those places first. Okay. And then I went to Senegal, was my last stop, and I'm still there.
Oh, and it's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Because literally, Jakaya is known as Traveling Fro. Yes. And so if you don't follow her right now, which she has plenty of people following her already, it's not like you have to follow her. But I'm sure she appreciates you followers.
Yes.
So Traveling Fro, and I see a lot of Senegal on there, and I feel like I have to come there.
Yes, you're welcome. Please come.
And so Cassandra, Frank, we're going to be coming there.
Yes.
And bringing some of Charlotte to West Africa.
Yeah.
And whatever you need me to do to help with the women there? I know you have a specific passion for women.
Absolutely.
And what does that passion consist of?
So it's a few different things. I really want Black Americans, I'm on a mission for Black Americans to see the continent differently. So seeing Africa differently and through my eyes, because we've grown up as Black people with negative images of our roots. So poverty, war, crime, and to be honest, that is, less than 10% of the population of what that's really going on. Okay. Or we think safaris and animals and giraffes and pet lions and crazy things like that.
There's so many stereotypes.
Stereotypes.
So that's just the point.
Exactly. So through my content on at Traveling Fro on Instagram and my website and the work that I'm doing, I'm really just trying to shape the perspective, change the perspective, and get people like yourself to spread the word as well about the beauty, about
it is beautiful.
That there are things going on there, and there are Black people like you and I thriving, just living their lives there, and people need to see that. So that's one thing. And the second thing is I have a retreat, and I get Black American women, young Black American women who are kind of scared maybe to travel to Africa alone, and they come as a group. Oh, so you're welcome on the next retreat if we want to do something like that. But I think it's all about connection. So getting, Black Americans to connect with the continent and people in Africa so that we can see we're the same blood, we come from the same place, and how can we work together to build the Black economy. Honestly, that's at the end of the day, I think that's what we should be doing, is working together as African Americans and Africans to build the Black, net worth, really.
Well, the thing is, after hearing you talk about it, anybody would want to come to Senegal, West Africa, because you're like such a positive ray of light representing the area.
Thank you.
And I know even as you travel from here and there and to and fro, literally.
Yes, exactly. That's it.
As you travel fro,
yes.
The point is you actually have so many different experiences, but then you're traveling alone.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so I would like for you to talk, and Mom is in the studio audience. I'm sure she doesn't want to be on camera, but she's like,
yes.
That's what Mom's reaction is. What do you do? Like, just tell us how that works for you.
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, thanks to my mom for
welcome to our we're gonna at least show a picture of you, Mom.
We'll
Since
show
Mom
a picture
is in the studio audience, but we're not showing her. We're gonna show you a picture of her,
for
Mom.
sure. I think it's important for mothers. I'm not a mother, but my advice as a daughter would be to have your mothers understand what you're doing and feel comfortable about it. And I'm lucky enough to have a mother that's allowed me to dream and be free. And maybe she's like, I don't know, but she trusts me enough that she's raised me to who I am, that I'm safe, I'm vigilant, I'm smart, I'm not doing anything to put myself in danger. So I think there are basic principles there, just growing up, that you learn that equips you for this. And honestly, people ask me this all the time. I had a question and answer on my Instagram this morning. And being an African American woman in the U.S. is already hard enough.
Yes.
So going outside of the U.S. is really a cakewalk, to be honest.
Is it?
Like,
okay.
You don't face, I personally haven't faced as much like racism. I haven't faced a lot of sexism. People don't necessarily bother me. Maybe they're not used to seeing Black people, so they're like, okay,
you stay over there, we'll still here.
Yeah.
But they don't bother you.
They don't really bother me. So I think it's just a matter of being smart, being vigilant, making sure that you don't put yourself in compromising situations. When I stay in Airbnbs, I rent from women, for example, or if I feel like there's a sketchy situation, I'm out. Like, that's it. You just trust your gut, and when something is up and when something feels weird.
Right.
But 9 times out of 10, honestly, I'm so comfortable. I don't feel like anything is weird, and obviously God has already walked the steps that I'm going and has covered me and given me so much grace.
Good teaching from your mama.
That's
from the Rock Worship Center.
That's it. So
that's good teaching.
Just prayer and knowing that I'm covered, and knowing that He's using me as a tool, as an example. So I'm gonna keep going as much as He allows me to, because I know that I've been able to impact and inspire other women sitting, watching, or listening to my story, and really being like, wow, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yes, it's very inspiring, and so many women. Actually, my 14-year-old son was telling me how I could track to see my demographic followers. And
Yes,
I found
yeah.
out that my largest viewership comes from ages 25 to 35.
Yep.
And I didn't know that. In one of the videos that I recently did, one of the interviews was not when happy is not enough, and how it's important to be full of joy
That's it.
versus just being happy.
That's it.
And when I was preparing to interview you, I was like, oh, she's gonna be great because that goes towards my
That's
audience.
it. Yeah, no.
And it actually targets the audience. But for people that are between 25 and 35, what advice would you give them that are trying to determine their path in life?
Yeah.
Now that I know that that's part of my community, I'm trying to get some answers.
Yes,
from you
of course. I think it's really to not get distracted by the worldly things, the material things.
Okay.
You know,
That's good.
money.
Very nice.
At first, we do a lot of things for money. We want the good job, we want the promotions, and then when those things start happening, we feel like we don't have that joy. Like, yeah, we may have comforts, but you don't feel fulfilled from within, right? So I think it's follow your passion. And honestly, like, I used to say this, but I didn't believe it, but now I do. But the money will come. It is so true. When you're doing what you're called to do, the money will come. When you're impacting people and you're doing it with service of others first and not only about yourself, those things will come. So I think that's one thing. The other thing is take risks. I know we're kind of scared to get out of our comfort zones, maybe to leave our hometown or to get on a plane even.
Go all the way to Senegal, West Africa.
maybe.
Come on, people.
Maybe you don't have to do that, but like take risks, you
Right.
know, explore your own backyard, get a passport, talk to people that have different experiences than you do, and don't be afraid to take risks, because during those ages, you know, your 20s and your 30s, that's when you can make those mistakes, learn from that, take those risks. You might not have as much responsibilities as someone in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. So use that time. Yes, you're building your life, but use that time to also explore what you know what you love before you kind of get into a path of what you think is the right, like, stereotypical, or like what society says you need to be doing by this age.
That's such good advice. Such
you.
good advice. And I hope I'm helping my community of viewers that this is some great tips for people to follow. Now, with you, speaking of love, is there anything, because a lot of times people between that age are really focused heavily on preparing for their families and having children and getting married and determining who they're going to settle down with. You are traveling fro.
Yeah.
You're traveling fro.
Exactly.
So what
That's
does
a good
your
question.
possible love life look like?
Yeah, I think for me,
Don't go too far now. You know your mama at the church. Your mama is at the rock worship.
yes, no, for me, that's a very important part. I think it's not being so concerned and consumed with who am I going to marry and when is it going to happen and what is the ring going to look like in the wedding, and my peers are going through that, and that's perfectly fine if you find that person and that's what you want. But I think it's unhealthy and it's not balanced when you're just so obsessed and focused on that. So my kind of approach is just live my life and go after my dreams, and I know that God will put that person into my path, and like what's for you is for you. It's not going to miss you. You don't need to go out there and search for it. It's going to come to you.
Why do I
at some
love you
point.
so much? I love you.
I've learned a lot in life, so it is what it is. And I'm currently dating someone now in Senegal, and I literally just met him while I was in my path of my fire, you know, and doing what I'm doing. And the thing is like, I am not gonna change for someone, and I don't think you should change for someone, no matter how old you are. Like, yes, you make adjustments and compromises and you build together, but if there's something that you want to do, you should totally do it. And your significant other, your partner, should love and support you through that. That's what I believe.
Girl,
I'm not married though, so I don't know.
But no, you know what? Believe it or not, and I can speak from being married for 25 years,
Right.
that my husband is so supportive of my goals and my dreams, and he wants to see every dream and goal that I
Exactly.
have
That's
become a
amazing.
reality.
That's
So
it.
you want a spouse that believes in what you would like to accomplish in life. Other than that, you're gonna have constant friction and tension
Absolutely.
and tug of war.
Yeah.
And that's, in my case, that's not the case. My husband, I'm a
That's a
mother
blessing.
dreamer. So
Yes, I love that. I
don't
love
know
that.
if you know about that, but I
Yes.
started a mother dreamer movement, and that's for mothers that have goals and dreams,
That's
but maybe they've sat them on the back burner and they just haven't become a reality yet. So with me having 5 children, I'm dusting these goals and dreams off, and I'm not
That's
waiting
it.
until everybody's
Yes.
raised and gone and grown and
I
out of
love
the
that.
house before it becomes a reality.
That's
I
it.
started the Mother Dreamer
That's
movement.
it. And that's what it's about. I love that.
The advice that you're giving applies to even mothers.
Absolutely.
So that's why I really love this.
Absolutely.
This advice.
Yeah. And it's just communication, whether you're a mother communicating with your kids or husband and wife, just your dreams may change. Just communicate those
That's
things
right.
and talk through it. And before you get married, communicate with that potential spouse, to let them know, like, hey, this is what I'm thinking of my life could look like, or things that I'm interested in.
Okay, and what does a day in the life look like for you?
That is, it just depends. Like when I'm in Senegal, or like just traveling. What do you mean? Like
So, like right
any
now,
day?
any day, just pick a day, a regular day
Okay.
in the life of Jakiya Brown, and traveling from.
Yeah.
It can be regarding mom's over blowing us some kisses. Like,
Thank
"Bye,
you,
we
love
love you. Okay, so give us a day in the life of Jakaya.
Okay, so if I'm not on a plane or traveling, I'm usually in my apartment in Senegal, which I have the view of the Atlantic Ocean, which is amazing. And I.
So when I come visit, I'm
yeah,
not
you
going to
can
want to
stay
come
with
back.
me.
I'll be like,
You
"We're
can stay with me."
I want to be there.
So I have a home office now, and I'm thankful for stability in that sense of having my own space. This was something that I prayed about and I worked towards in 2018, was getting my own place, because when you're traveling all the time, you don't feel, you need somewhere to like go
Call
back
home,
to.
right,
Yeah,
right.
to call home. Like, of course, you're my mother's house, it's home, but it's not necessarily my home.
Right.
So now I have my own home, and so I, get up, do my meditations, prayer, stretches, maybe work out, get my coffee, and then get to work. So I sit at my computer. Honestly, it's not as glamorous as people think. Like, I'm
Those
at my
pictures make it
computer.
look, wait a minute, your pictures with your back showing and you laying on the side of a pool and all that looks very
So that's
glamorous.
30% of the time.
Okay.
I'm traveling, I'm on a beach, I'm, experiencing, I'm soaking up all the other culture, but 70% of the time I'm working. I'm pitching interviews, partnerships, collaborations. I'm working on my course that teaches people how to start a brand. I'm doing branding consulting, which is what I've learned from my, my past corporate experience. So, I mean, this life is the life of my dreams, but you have to afford it, and you have to, I want to create wealth, and I want to create business ventures that will allow me to continue to grow. So either working on my retreat or having consulting calls with people that want to do the same thing. So it is a lot of admin and a lot of back work, and I want people to know that it's not all Instagram and social media are highlights.
Right,
They're highlights of people's lives and the good parts mostly.
You better believe it. I'm crying right now.
Exactly.
I'm swollen. Stuff.
Exactly. I miss home.
I'm
like,
so
I'm
sad.
sick.
Nobody's putting that. It's like, no, this is the good shots
It's a
of
good
me and my
shot.
family and our happy times.
So,
Stuff that you wouldn't mind being put on the front page of a newspaper.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's great, but know that there are, just like anything, there are moments that are, you're working or you're tired or you're stressed and you're really just trying to figure out how to make ends meet with your business. So the life of traveling full time and entrepreneurship, you have to really be patient and strong so that you can deal with the ups and downs of entrepreneurship on top of travel.
Right.
So having that balance of being someone who's working and then also trying to travel and experience and learn new languages and all the things that come with traveling.
Wow. So you have a full day between prayer, meditation, and then getting to collaboration, and then getting to some of the poolside activities.
Exactly.
Then
the
it's
weekends.
all 100%.
Yeah,
At the end of the
exactly.
day. That's beautiful.
But I think for me, I don't, so I talk a lot about this on my Instagram. I don't live for Friday. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, TGIF, thank God it's Friday, waiting for Friday. I don't live for Friday, and I don't dread Mondays anymore. I used to.
I love that. I love that.
So now I think today.
But why?
Thursday.
Why is it that you? Because I actually share similar sentiments. To me, every day is a great day. It's an opportunity to be able to make a difference in somebody's life. And every day really may not be a great day,
right?
Because I feel like you have to try to make it a great day, and it's so important to kind of push through some of the issues and obstacles. And all the time, there's something that can have you down and out.
All the time.
And I know that because stuff can just get the best of you.
That's it.
But I don't allow it to if I can help it. So what does not dreading Monday and looking forward to Friday and all of that mean to you?
Yes, I think it's because I'm waking up and choosing happiness and choosing to do what I love every day and following, that fire inside of me and not necessarily the paycheck or, just living to pay bills, for example.
Right.
So when you're doing something that brings you joy, and it doesn't need to be as drastic as quitting your job and traveling the world, but before you even go to work and work for someone else, do something for yourself, right? Take 15 minutes out of your day to do something for yourself first that brings you joy and happiness, whatever that may be. So then that way you're not kind of counting down until the weekend where you have joy. Like you have joy every day, you have happiness kind of infused in your life every day. And I make my own schedule. So like today could be Friday or like a Friday, you know what I mean? So I wanted that freedom of owning my own time. That was very important to me in my late 20s, was owning my own time. And yes, sometimes I work at 12-hour days, but it's up to me.
I love this. I love this interview. And then, okay, so as a child growing up, were you this kind of person? Did you have these goals and these dreams of one day becoming an entrepreneur and traveling the world, or what? How did it start for you?
I mean, my mom always says like I've been here before and that I should be the mother.
You have an older spirit. That's
so
for sure.
I do believe in souls, and maybe my soul is older, but I just was able to take myself out of my current circumstance and situation and dream outside of that, and know that just because my life is a certain way right now doesn't mean that's always has to be the case.
Wow.
So my mom was a single mother, raised us as great as she could, exposed us to other things, instilled travel, maybe not international travel, but the notion of getting out, doing something, going somewhere else, talking to different people that are not like you. So I think that helped a lot. From the age of like 7 or 8, I always wanted to move to New York and be a fashion designer. So I think I had that entrepreneurial spirit. I just didn't know what it was called.
Right.
So I think if you have kids or siblings or friends and they're expressing some type of entrepreneurial spirit, let them
explore
let them see what that may be. Don't shut it down and kind of say, no, you need to work this type of job, you're not going to be able to make it on your own. Like, let them kind of try, and I think that's what my mom did. And so I just was always kind of to myself, reading a lot.
That's my son. He reads a lot.
Yeah,
Avid reader.
I didn't really play outside. I was just so focused. And when I was a kid, for me, doing well in school was the answer, because I thought if I succeeded in school, then I get into college, and then I get scholarships, and I can get through college for free. Like, I just kind of took it those steps. Then I was like, okay, then once I have a degree, I can get a great job. I just went kind of the route that people think is the correct route, but for me that worked. And it allowed me to get to New York. And once I got to New York, life changed. It opened my eyes to travel and different possibilities, different ethnicities, different walks of life, and made me more curious.
Melting pot of all of it.
Exactly.
So this is good.
Yeah, and I was like, if I could make it there, literally, I could
definitely
do anything. I could make it anywhere. So I think it was just those kind of steps in life, and I got I wouldn't say necessarily lucky, but I was very blessed to kind of just be guided into certain opportunities. And
excellent.
Here I am.
And then when is your next retreat?
June 7th. It's in June. It's in 3 weeks.
Okay.
3 weeks.
Okay.
So that's why I'm leaving back to Senegal on Monday, and to get everything kind of the details together. But yeah, so
how do people learn more about your retreat, whether it's this one or one in the near future or next year? How would they learn?
So you can go to thetravelingfro.com, or you can follow me at travelingfro on Instagram. You can send me a DM and just kind of talk with me from there. I'm always happy to answer questions, because I think people think that what I'm doing is such a grand, like you said, vast thing, and I appreciate that. And I don't think about it that way until someone says it, but for me it's just do it. You just do it. Yeah.
And that's so funny you say that, because some things that I'll do in life, I'm like, this is just basic, right? I'm not doing anything. I'm actually not doing anything special. I'm just living my life. But for somebody else watching from the outside, it's so massive, so intense. And so how do you do that? It's like, I just believe that God graces each person with what they need to be able to be equipped to handle the situation, whatever it is.
I've been so blessed along this journey. Exactly. Yeah. I haven't had any issues. I've been blessed with, travel grace, and you just kind of take one experience at a time.
You have your passport and everything, obviously.
Yes.
And how does
running, my stamps are, I need to renew my passport. I have no more space, which is also a blessing. So use your passport. And the thing is that I want a lot of people to know too, when you have a U.S. passport, this piece of paper is golden, and we might not know that. And I think as Black Americans, we're not educated a lot to understand the privilege we have with a blue passport.
Right.
But we can go to almost any country in the world when most people cannot travel to a lot of countries without visa, proof of income, all these
kinds of stipulations. I have a passport from my husband and all of our children.
That's
and
great.
we travel. We get the opportunity. We'll come to. I know where we're coming. I know where we are going. Jacob's family. We're going to Senegal.
Yes.
So with one of your pieces was featured in O Magazine, if I'm not mistaken, and I was like blown away because I was like, it was a simple shot, which we're going to feature it here and let you see that shot, but it just spoke volumes.
Thank you.
So what was that particular piece mean to you?
That was definitely life-changing. So Oprah Magazine found me on Instagram, so that's the power of social media. Her editor, who's also a woman of color, she just, Ariana Davis, shout out to her, she found me on Instagram and they said, can we repost you? And they reposted me on their Instagram, and it got a ton of likes and comments and engagement. They were just talking about living the life of your dreams. And I actually reached out to them afterwards and I said, thank you for reposting me. Can I pitch an article? So that's, the follow up. Like, you have to take it that next level. I could have just been like, yeah, thanks for the regram. But I followed up, and I think that's very important for young people to know, because we do get a little bit entitled, us millennials. But we got to put in the work, and I followed up, and she said, sure. And they interviewed me, a 2-hour $80 Sprint phone call because I was in Senegal.
Okay.
It was worth it.
Right.
They interviewed me and they just asked me, basically, you should write for Oprah Magazine, because they asked me all of the questions that you kind of asked me, and they just wanted to know my story and my journey, and how I got the guts to kind of leave what people would think is a glamorous dream job to travel the world. So and that piece in my world went viral, and I kind of just rode that and used that to up my brand and my business.
Wow.
Yeah.
that's
having Oprah on your resume is,
that helps, right?
Yeah, it helps. It helps you get in the door.
Yeah. Actually, I used to mute the television as a teenager and read the closed captioning for all of Oprah's shows. So I would be like, and next coming to the stage is my friend Gail, and I would just like I was like Oprah, but I wasn't Oprah, obviously. But the whole theory of just being able to have a dream and stick to that dream and ultimately see it become a reality is what that did for me.
Yes,
when it comes to Oprah, since we're talking about Oprah specifically. And so her being an example and a role model for me to be able to just literally mute my television, close caption, and be able to read and kind of emulate or imitate at the time. But ultimately, I had my own show.
That's it.
For 3 seasons on PBS and on the Word Network. And now rebranding to get the Kim Jacobs show up and running with guests like you.
And you kept that dream. That's what's so important. I think people, like you said, 3 years, people give up in 3 months, and they think it's going to be instant, because we live in such an instantaneous world. But that's a great
society.
Exactly. And that's a great example to show that and maybe people were like, oh, you're crazy to be doing this, muting the TV, but the fact that you followed through and you muted and silenced, the haters, the
noise,
the haters, as I'll say, but the noise, yes. But you eventually realize your dream, and I think that's one of the parts that stumps people, as they get sucked up in the noise and kind of what everyone else is saying around them. So just like you have to kind of stick to that, and your dream will come true. And sacrifice. Yes. There are sacrifices. It seems glamorous what you and I are doing, but there are sacrifices that we have to make in order to live the life that you want to live. Being away from my family is one of those, but those are things that come with following your dreams and doing what you are called to do.
So you don't see yourself coming back here to live? Do you think Senegal is it, or do you think you're gonna be traveling from there?
I'm
somewhere
always
else?
traveling.
Okay.
I'm open. I'm
So you're just
open. I'm always traveling. I love Senegal as a home base right now.
Okay.
This is always home. This
But
is always
Charlotte's
home. Will
always gonna
always
be home because
Yes.
Mother Deanna Brown, and see, we know Mother Deanna Brown is here in
and
Charlotte.
family, like I'll always come back to my family. I make it a point to come to the U.S. at least 2 times a year.
Oh, good.
I want to
Okay.
do 3 to 4, and that's another goal in my business is to make enough money and build a team so that I can do things like that
Good.
and fly my family over and you know what I
okay.
mean. So it's just creating that life where it's like make it as you want it.
Right.
And so I could travel and be based,
Right.
here and there,
But you're gonna always be with family, so it's not
Yeah.
like if you're in Senegal, if you're wherever you are around the continent or world or whatever, you're always gonna have your mom as your mom, and she's gonna be where you are. You're gonna be
That's
where she
it.
is, and your family.
and home is what you make it.
That's
Home is
right.
where you are. It's
I
not
agree.
a physical space in my
agree.
mind. So.
I agree.
Yeah.
So what's next for you?
What's next? Oh my gosh. So I have the retreat coming up June 7. I have a few different collaborations and partnerships through my Instagram, and just continuing to help other people build their brands,
Okay.
really build businesses or entrepreneurship ventures by using digital marketing and social media. So if you have a brand, it doesn't have to be travel related, but if you have a brand and you need help communicating, figuring out your target audience so that you can create supplemental income, additional income, or so that you can transition and quit your job to do something, your passion project full time. I really want to continue helping women do that so that we don't feel as suffocated and as stuck
I love that.
in roles that we don't want to be in.
That's
So,
right.
doing that will help me continue to do what I do, really. And continue to travel. We'll see where we go next.
Well, hey, you might have to stay tuned just to learn more about where Jakiya Brown will end up, because right now it's Senegal, West Africa. I gotta say that one more time. Right now it's Senegal, West Africa, but you never know where she's gonna travel from or to next. So stay tuned to learn more about Jakiya Brown. Listen, I'm so glad that you were on the show.
Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Is there anything you want to say to the audience before we end the show? Because it's been so much. You have so much.
I know. I talk a lot. Sorry.
No, it's so much for you to offer and to tell the world.
My motto is faith over fear.
Okay.
So if there's something that you're scared to do, just continue to have faith. And honestly, when you go into the unknown, I 9 times out of 10, it's going to be greater than you could ever imagine.
Yes.
On the other side, and live life with no regrets. There's so many young people that are living life, fearful or, regretting things when they get older, but you literally only have this one life.
That's
and think about, your legacy and what you want to leave behind, and if you can just live life to the fullest, for me, that's my legacy, to say, she lived life to the fullest.
That's it. Les Brown talks about living full and dying empty.
That's it.
When I die, I want to be completely emptied out, because I want to know that everything I did it here on this earth. I left the impact. Left it all. I did everything I was capable of doing, using every gift and every talent that I had inside of me. So I'm excited about that. And let me ask you another question.
Yes, I love it.
Now that you said that, I could go on and on and on and on and on with this interview. It could be days, but what's like the moment that, like, since we were talking about Oprah and she has that old aha theory, but I don't know, I'm not allowed to say aha and brand it or anything because that's her brand. But what's that moment that you say, this was one of the most life-impacting, life-changing moments in my travel experience? What's that moment for you?
Ooh, when people come up to me and say, you changed my life. That's crazy. I'm like, what? And I don't even know them. I don't even know that things are moving and shaking because of me all over the world. That's the moment when I'm like, I'm doing what I should be doing. When people say I booked a ticket, or I'm now starting a project, I quit my job, I took whatever risk, and people come up to me, they DM me now. I now meet people randomly, which is so humbling but crazy. In New York, I just saw someone and they saw me on the street and they're just like, I just want you to know, like you changed my life, or you helped me heal from something. So there was a young woman who her mother had died, and she told me I helped her heal through that. I can't imagine what that experience would be like, but the fact that me living my life out loud helped her continue, I mean, honestly, I can't ask for anything else in life. That's amazing. I just want to keep doing that.
Oh, do you know how glad I am I asked you that question? And I wasn't even going to ask. I don't even know what questions I'm going to ask.
That one touches my...
I told you before the show that I don't pre-rehearse.
Yeah,
I
love
don't have
that.
cue cards or anything because I don't know what I'm going to ask. I really want it to be just more of a candid conversation.
And it's perfect.
This was a great conversation, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh, I hope
this brings me so much joy. Yes.
Oh my
I
God.
love spreading my story. Thank you for having me and listening.
Well,
I'll tell anyone who's listening, honestly.
Well, it has been my honor and my privilege, and I can't wait to get this video up and out so everybody can see it. But then people, make sure you stay in contact and follow, join the retreat, do anything that Jakiya Brown is offering with travelingfro.com.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Travelingfro.com. Make sure you stay connected with Jakaya. She's a beautiful soul. A beautiful soul that's well beyond your years. She's not in her, what are you?
I'm 30. I just turned 30 in April.
Girl, you are so much older than 30. I mean, whatever your number is, but your spirit is just aged and seasoned.
Yes,
and it's just well saturated with the goodness that life has to offer.
Thank you.
And whatever places that you've traveled to, you've kind of picked up a little piece of each of those things and brought it back.
That's it.
From a cultural perspective, I'd like to know that too. How is it when you're traveling from a cultural perspective, going over to West Africa versus being here in the United States? What's
completely different. I think I have more culture shock coming back to the U.S. than going there because in Senegal, it's much more of a simple life. There's, here we have thousands of choices and options, and it's overstimulating. But I think it's something to be said about taking a pause and soaking in what's around you and not thinking that your way is always the right way. Even with religion, Senegal is 95% Muslim. I'm Christian, but a lot of the principles overlap, and a lot of but being able to be open to that is super important, because just because you're one way doesn't mean that's the only way people around the world.
Everybody else is wrong. It's just, just embrace the people, let them believe what they want to believe. That's what I'm really big on that when it comes to. I love that.
That's great.
I say, you're able to hang your soul on whatever you want. I'm not going to judge you one way or the other.
That's it.
This is just what I've chosen to hang my soul on. I believe in Jesus. I believe that He's my Lord and Savior. It's certain things that I personally believe.
Absolutely.
And I don't have to impose my beliefs on everyone else for us to coexist.
Exactly. And understand people and listen to how they live. And I think it's important for any of you traveling, learn some of the language. I know it's hard for us English speakers because most people around the world speak English. That's a privilege. And I think when you try to get outside of your comfort zone, you try to learn the language. So right now I'm learning and working on my fluency in French, and then Wolof, which is the native African pre-colonized language of Senegal. So just trying. I sound crazy, but
they
I
know
try.
You're trying.
Exactly.
Well, I will pull out a Google Translator in a minute. So it could be any language. I pull it out on my phone. I say it in English, and I say translate it in this, and I just put it up to the person, and they're laughing because they can't believe I'm translating in their language. Because I know that we have a language barrier.
Absolutely.
But I really want to show my sincerity through trying to express their language.
Absolutely.
And when I do that,
important.
Believe it or not, they love it. They're laughing. They're like, oh,
yes.
And then it's it breaks that down.
That's it. Exactly. It breaks the ice a little bit, and it makes, you're coming into their country, their culture. Take part in that. In Senegal, a lot of West African countries, we eat around, you sit on the floor and you eat around one large bowl of cheboudian in Senegal is the national dish. So it's fish, rice, and vegetables. You sit around.
That's my favorite.
It's so good. You'll have it when you come. But you sit around and everyone has their portion, and you share and you put food, on other people's portions, and you just think about how communal people live, and how gracious people will give you the last crumb that they have, the shirt off their back, and those morals and values, I try to continue to bring those back with me and keep them close, because sometimes we can, with social media and with money and other things, we can get away from that, but just bringing it back to our core values and beliefs of caring and loving your neighbor and taking care of each other, making sure your neighbor is fed. Very basic, fundamental things.
Wow.
You pick that up a lot because sometimes that's all people have in other countries.
Wow.
And they're happy with that.
Well, we're definitely going to show you a few clips of
Yeah.
some things from Jakiya Brown, so you'll be able to take a look at some of her photos and the beauty of Senegal, West Africa, and the beauty of this beautiful woman, Jakiya Brown. Thank you so much for being on the show. I think I've closed the show about 3 or 4 times.
It's okay. It's awesome.
But then it's like so intriguing. I continue to re-interview you. But at this point, we're going to do a 4th stop of the Kim Jacobs Show. And I encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel here and also to turn on your notifications.
Yes.
Please make sure you turn on your notifications and share it with a friend to be able to follow the Kim Jacobs Show. Thank you so much, Jakaya. That's my final time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I've said it like a few times, but for real, this time we're going to end. Thank you for tuning in to the Kim Jacobs Show and have a great day.